whoever. And I watched a podcast on the Awake Nation. Jesse was on there again because his stuff is getting, thanks Jesse, thanks Cosmic Clarity Connections, thank you guys for everything you're doing and anybody else that's helping you on the sides. I've been out for a while, taking a break. I'm waiting braid hip surgery, like I said. But this thing is like thick, and it's all I know I don't need to show proof. You should just believe me, honestly. I know I don't need to do that. That's becoming prideful, and that's not being obedient. I love this book. So where I'm going to start is with this book. I had mentioned that I wanted to ask anybody if there was more information on D2K, or which is like a dream manipulation, induced dreams, induced memories. I think might be part of D2K. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that. But on Project Soul Catcher Volume 2, I wanted to read you something that I found just kind of popped out. Because I wanted to find out more on this dream thing. And I'm sure it's broader than that, I'm sure they can, just not only dreams, but behaviors and killing soldiers, like people that are doing stuff, and like Myron May and all them, things like that, all these shootings and stuff. Hi. So anyway, what I was going to read out of this one, I've had this book for years. Like I said, I probably have 100 books. Sharon Poet is amazing. Renee Pittman, if you can look any of her stuff up. She was the one that this is Sharon Poet that did this calling. Sharon Poet did this Calling All Hearts. She's from Vermont. This is one of the books that I sent out to over 50 people so far. And I know I'm slow going. It's, we all know it takes longer to actually do something. Now I have a little more time on my hands because I'm staying at home. Anybody want a kitty? Because I'm going to be having kittens. Anyway, okay, let's move on. So I was reading on this on page 41 of the Project Soul Catcher Volume 2 by Robert Duncan. God rest your soul, Robert. They talk about replacing personalities and memories. Okay, so it's on page 41 of his Volume 2, it says, information streams, simulating dreams, interactive mind control, systematic overthrow. So I was reading that and I was like, wow, because I have writing all over my books. It's like my Bible. I have hundreds of books and there's just writing and dates and character witnesses I have in there. And it's just, So it talks about, I'll just read this to you. Okay, it says, just like that with NASA offered to build terrorist brain printing devices in airports, the reverse technology is also available. One not only can classify personality and moods, but induce them into a host. This has been the thrust of much of the CIA's behavior modification experiments and splitting personalities. Behavior psychologists who work on creating Manchurian candidates and remote control assassins have used trauma-based conditioning methods in the past. Usually they choose adults and children who have been sexually or physically abused. In recent decades, they have been trying a new technique of walking well-adjusted targets back into childhood under hypnosis and inserting child abuse memories. Now, I know there was something when I was going through a treatment, okay, and I was seeing a psychologist for an hour a week because I was like, I'm so messed up in my head from all this and my life issues. We all have life issues, right? So when I was a child, things happened. I came home to find my mom almost dead at the bottom of the stairs. We were really pretty decent, well off. We were a normal family. I never even seen my dad hit my mom that I remember. Where you can bring back your trauma, like psychologists, psychiatrists, there's a certain name or acronym for it, where they make you bring back your trauma yourself. And that helps you heal from the trauma you had in the past, like with my parents and stuff. It wasn't that bad, but for me, it was horrible. It was horrific. My parents were my world. I was the oldest, and I couldn't believe it, and the way we lived, and how were we a fake family? So anyway, I do believe, there is, I don't know the name of it. It's some type of trauma-based psychology thing that brings your memory, your trauma back for you to deal with, but they can't do it. You got to do it for you. Okay. Therefore, going forward, okay, so governments spend enormous resources on unifying the populace. Religion has traditionally been used to unify cultures. However, a more intrusive form of unification has begun, which develops children and adult brains with a very constrictive box. Dream and thought entrainment. Brain entrainment over the population is being tested to see if they can restrict and induce a limited set of thoughts, thereby controlling popular opinion, coercing human perception to a common reality, and in essence, stealing their souls from self-determinism without their knowing consent. Excuse me. Governments find it easier to govern when everyone thinks the same. That's got to be a pretty boring job. Really? Personality implantation using electromagnetic entrainments helps this agenda. Think of this as a virus that copies itself to every human being, effectively taking over the natural order of society. In computers, certain segments of memory can be protected from other segments, writing or reading to them without the correct permission. In this new brave world of mind monitoring and hacking, certain thoughts will cause a panic or trigger an alert for the operating system to handle. In this case, the operating system could be a big brother government. The US and Russia are the biggest users of mind monitoring networks. Okay. So I was reading a little bit about that. I don't want to keep going. This is just all more history. And then it came to, okay, now in the most extreme, cognitive containment techniques become a mind prison. Okay, so this is why this technique is listed as malicious payload of mind viruses. The payload forces an obsessive compulsive mental focus on just a few topics. In an ever more extreme form, it is just perpetual infinitive looping and repetition. Goes around and around, right, Jimmy Kohler? Sorry. Around and around and around. Okay. In ever more extreme form, it is just perpetual infinitive looping and repetition of thoughts and words. This payload completely shuts down the host, be it a computer or biological. Okay, this was discovered back in the 1950s and 60s. Simply by amplifying a target's brain's signal back into the same host disables their ability to think clearly. See the chapter on U.S. weapon system called Satan. Okay, so Satan. All right. Death Doctors, Angels of Death, Psychic Assassins is what it came up in Project Soul Catcher, Volume 2 of Robert Duncan's book. It states, I have walked through the valley of the shadow of death, Psalm 23, right? We all know. Yeah, that's a great psalm. The purpose of Satan is behavior modification to death. Death. Isn't that like death? Useful and silent, plausible denial, mass murders, and eugenics. Training the targets for every known detrimental behavior to shorten life is a diabolical method it uses for silent kills. and large-scale eugenic social engineering. Even all survival instincts can be erased. The field of the study of death is called theontology. Theontologists, I can't believe that, examine all aspects of death, including biological, the cessation of physiological processes, psychological, which is cognitive, emotional, and behavioral responses, and social, which are historical, cultural, and legal issues. In order to avoid a lawsuit, we won't name several Pentagon officials and CIA scientists that are theontologists, with the exception of Colonel that started a division of satanic cult called the, pardon me for the mispronunciation, for the NSA. He's retired now. This was an experiment to create tortures. And assassins with sociopathic behaviors. Death merchants and soldiers of fortune is not a new concept in warfare. A Yale professor, Dr. Milgram, conducted experiments on how normal morality of people can be subverted when authority figures command them to do the unthinkable. One can see this as an operation by the common justification, I was just doing my job. There's a bunch of other things equivalent, like cast a spell or hex or possesses with a demon, which is Alice or Tammy. Shatter boxes or calm boxes, right, Jimmy Kohler? Hoo. You need to step up, boy. I want to know how you knew my password and kept repeating it to me. 1119, why this I punch into work? You freak. You're a freak. And I will say this on record. That is the honest to God truth. I swear to God. I have a bunch more on this, but I'm going to go to the next one, which is this one is Mind Control, World Control, the Encyclopedia of Mind Control by Jim Keith. Another great one. I have all kinds of books because I do my research. Okay, now let's go back to the MK Tech Invasion and Mind Control. Oh, Bayshore Resort, Traverse City. Haha, we just up there a year ago. It's got to be this one. I took this on vacation. Oh, Chapter 2.3, MK Tech. It talks about Syntel and synthetic electronic telepathy. Now, this is very true. I had someone calling me about this too. I look, like I said, I look into everything. I've researched things, like I found papers today in my book when I was working in 17 these papers were. I'm like, holy buckets. The more, because I have my schedule, like, because I use recycled paper, so, and it's all dated. I look back, I'm like, 2017, I started researching this. It's amazing. And I've not stopped. So, I'm just waiting for one person, to say some shit about this being a mental illness, because guess what? My ass will be in your yard. That's how I feel. You get these freakazoids on here, and I know it's not supposed to be Well, you're not supposed to get upset. You're supposed to be calm. This shit is killing people. Do I look like I'm mentally unstable to you? Do I look mentally unstable? Any comments? That's what I thought. Because I'm not. For what I and all these other millions of people are going through. You, the unbelievers, are the ones that are sick. No comments? There are people out there that are dying. There are people committing suicide. There are mass shooters out there. And you thought the little Coplamo with the one in Mexico at Dos Equis, what? Mafia? Fuck them. They're shit. Try me. Last night I sat there again, being what felt like I was being like electricity coming out of my body at like a low voltage, which is the most irritating thing ever. I've been dealing with it for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 8 years, but I can count on my fingers. You know, I'm waiting patiently to find out my next move. Besides, I've been got a hold of a few people, a few journalists. I called WCCO News. I actually emailed them. You know, I may have talked about 3 months ago about writing my senator and doing all that. Everybody else is. It's obviously not really working. I know we're getting closer, don't get me wrong. I don't know what goes on the other side. I don't know what targeted justice stuff. I'm not putting anybody out there. You guys are doing an amazing job. Clarity Cosmic Connections, My Nexus, Awake Nation, come on. We're doing a really, really good job. You know, likes to play in the mud. You know, I mean, seriously. I'm going to start hitting the little people. And I did, and I have, and I've started. I'm limited on things I can do because of my right hip, which is frustrating. But you know, I sat there and I prayed the other day. And I said, let's think about how Mayo Clinic, what would they do if I had a session, like a counsel session with them, because I'm concerned, because it's my body, and I'm concerned because I have anomalies that are setting off a radio frequency in my person. And one of those spots is my right hip. I'm scared to death. Do I say something? The best hospital in the world. So I'm praying about it. And pray for me too. I'm scared, y'all. I mean, what if these are like all hooked up for some reason, like kind of, and one goes missing? Will it kill me? And I talked to a few of my friends about it that are going to be in my surgery, and I'm like, what do I do? Do I show them my papers? Do I just show them to them and just be quiet and be like, hey, I got to show you this? And just end a conversation. That's all I need to know. Like, my frequency's, of course, blocked for my safety. But I think of it this way. For 7 years, they've been trying to kill me anyway, or make me think they are. I just wish you'd die. That's what they say. I've had multiple health issues that I know were man-made. I know that. But it's still scary. I'm only human, you know? Like, really, I'm only human, so... But it's almost like saying, hey, look, my grandpa had surgery on his face. You got a 50-50 chance that you're not going to bleed to death. My grandma had to make that decision, and my grandpa, when he had blood sacs hanging off half of his face, and there was a big write-up in the paper about it. He's an amazing man. But every day, I think that. I have a 50-50% chance of living today. I have a 50-50% chance of living today. I have a 50-50% chance. For something I didn't consent to. For something that I didn't sign up for. I think my parents did this to me. I talked to some friends that knew my mom and dad. And they're like, Karen, we know your mom and dad. They'd never do that. How do you know? How do you know? So anyway, let it go. So chapter 2.3 of this invasion and mind control, which is kind of interesting. I mean, these are great. This is more than intermediate. This is reads, really. You really need to do your research before you read something like this to be able to understand it. Filippi Saboya and Descent. Filippi, here, I'll just put this in it. I can't pronounce it, sorry. But these are the most recent books I bought. I was gonna grab a book, something that the book that Jesse told me to pick up, and that's my next thing now. I'm gonna purchase that. But chapter 2.3, it talks about MK Tech, Intel, EMR, V2K, EMRI, EMRV. It calls Intel synthetic electronic telepathy. Now, there are several people listening to my thoughts and commenting on them inside my head. How is this possible? I can't think anymore. What's going on? I think I'm going crazy. What? I gotta quit vaping. I only do it once in a while, though. It was in October of 2019, so it's fairly new. 2021, Felipe Cebolla de Santo Cruz Abura. Title MK Tech Invasion of Mind Control Volume 1, First Edition, October 2019. MK Ultra 2.0. Experiments in the 21st century included. I mean, so this would be a good read for people that are. I don't think I'd get into this without reading like Robert Duncan's. There's some really good. Renee Pittman's great. Like she's probably got 7 books out. Some of them are long reads, they're repetitive, but they're really good. I know one of them is quite long, over 1,000 pages, and I've read them all. But Renee Pittman is that's a really good resource. I do recommend that. I've got Dr. John Halls, I've got Robert Duncan's, I've got Jim Keith. Oh, excuse me, sorry. But it talks about artificial electronic telepathy, synthetic electronic telepathy, or simple electronic telepathy consists of use of the EMRVI. I don't know what that is. I need to search that. Electronic mind reading, which is vocalized images to extract information. Neural processes connected to hearing. Then a totally silent conversation between the technology operators and the target takes place. In other words, it's possible to send messages to the operator with the thought alone and receive a response via V2K without anyone in the vicinity being able to hear what is being communicated to the mind, nor the content of the thought being amplified and transmitted. It closes, therefore, a complete communication cycle. Now, they show this picture. Let's see if I can get this. I don't know. So this MK Tech, it's showing like MK Tech, it says up here, MK Tech, right? So then this goes down to V2K. V2K then goes to the targeted individual. Okay? Then there's memories, cognition, and emotions. Okay? And then that goes to output, which goes to the reaction, natural thoughts evoked in response to the stimulus received, EMR. Here. But if you follow this these are algorithms. This is what algorithms are. Okay? Do you see how in nursing school there are algorithms for processes like stroke victims, heart attack, trauma? There's an algorithm for everything. This then goes to this. This then you proceed to this. Then you go to here. You go to the Braslow cart, which is an infant intubation cart. It shows you where to go. Burn patients, everything. They're algorithms. Okay, so it's talking about MK Tech sending information to the antenna. I mean, this all goes back to the V2K, which is the microwave voice, okay? Which goes to the target individual. What goes to the brain, which are your memories, your cognition, and your emotion, okay? Then it goes to the output processing, which is reactions, natural thoughts evoked in response to the stimulus received, EMR. Okay? Then it goes down, algorithm down, amplification of thoughts in the target's mind. It goes over brain and mind, which is memories, cognition, emotion. That goes down on the output. The output is reactions, natural thoughts evoked in response to stimulus received, EMR. Okay, then it goes down to amplification of thoughts in the target's mind, to the satellite, to the antenna, and back right up to where MK Tech, and it starts all over again and goes around and around. Right, Jimmy Kohler? I'm gonna get him yet. I'm gonna get him yet. He knows something. So, okay, calm down. So that's kind of what this, it's like a lubricant, It's like kind of, I mean, I get the, excuse me, I gotta get a tissue. Pardon me, hang on. Sorry about that. Ooh, Kleenex, Kleenex. All right, I'm sorry. Thank you for waiting. I gotta shut this door. I got some bugs coming in here. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Thank you, you guys. I got my back. Don't have any like screen doors on my. I have the end of my house. I have a door, but it doesn't have no screen door. Like, and the south end of my house, I have a door. It doesn't have no screen door, so I like to crack them a little bit, and just so it kind of flows through. And I have my whole house has windows. But anyway, thank you. I know. I get a little bit. What's the word I'm looking for? Stern. I get stern on things like this. Because it really upsets me. Like, if anybody's been following me since 2020 on YouTube, yeah, they're sporadic. I remember I've watched some of my videos from 2020. I don't want to get off the subject now, but just because, I like to talk. I have watched some of my videos. Horrible. Now, a lot of that, because I'm very vocal, they want to kind of discredit you. And that's something you have to be careful of. Remember, I've told you, anybody that's listening, whether you're a targeted person, whatever's going on with you, whether you're being sex trafficked, you call 811, I don't care. We have human rights, and it's so broad. We have human rights, and they're being taken away from us. Like, there's so many things that this world has come down to that we are being violated of our human rights. It's just not this mind control and these implants or these nanotechs or anything like that, you guys. You don't need that to be targeted. If you're someone that really believes in your rights to bear arms and you're being manipulated and neighbors are talking about you and people are talking bad about you in your town, that's manipulation. That is gang stalking. That is wrong. You have every right. We need to hold up our Constitution and we need to remember what that says. So not only do we have to, which I'm trying to advocate for, whatever you want to say, I don't have a term for it really. I just am trying to help. I have my own shit going on. I'm scared to death, kinda. But I lay it in God's hands. But what other people have to realize is not being a targeted person or survivor of this or whatever you want to call it. Y'all have to remember one thing. What happened to our Constitution? Why Fix something that's not broken. It's mind control. And then you have this. This isn't improv. Sorry, y'all. I did try to plan some of it, and I still have somewhere to read you out of the one book. But, like, I don't care what anybody thinks of what I'm about to say. Or I do care about what you think. No, actually, I can explain. Or try to. Like, when my son was 16, we lived in Mora, small town. He was a good kid. We had decent stuff. We had decent toys. We had Schwann's delivery every 2 weeks. I mean, not trying to be prideful, but I'm just trying to paint the picture. It's like we weren't hurting. And he was fed with 4 gold spoons every day. Not like high-tech stuff, like a $40,000 boat, things like that. But even though they were hand-me-downs and they were fixable, nothing ever brand new. Nothing ever brand new. Except for clothes. Oh, I just got sidetracked. Sorry, it was so perfect too. But, so, he started to become a country kid. We lived in the country. He started hanging out with everybody kind of like had horses. And I was like, the second year I was carrying around divorce papers that I printed off at RSI. No, New Horizons, which is an amazing place. You ever want to take your family anywhere? Take them to New Horizons. They're amazing. I know they have a place in Cambridge. They are great. I worked there for years. Oh, they're great for your family that have mental issues. But anyway, so he got into this thing about Confederate flag. Okay, he got his own truck. It was like a 2013 Chevy, whatever. And we kind of gave it to him because, of course, he gets everything. Kind of like our daughter did too, but she's not appreciative of it. Fuck you, Ashley. Pardon my language. And he always did that. All of a sudden, the kids started doing that. So he's, it was supposed to be he's 16, he's 20, just turned 24. Now, when they took the big flags and they stuck them in the back holes of their truck, like the American flags, like the... You know what I mean? Well, he had an American and a Confederate flag. Oh, I kind of know history. I knew what was going on, and I'm like, I didn't really think anything of it. I thought, we have our right to freedom of speech, right? He wasn't being mean. He wasn't racist. He was just a rebel kid thinking that it was all cool to put a Confederate flag in his truck. That's all. He probably has no clue what the Confederate flag even means. Really. But he got his whole truck keyed one day at school all the way down the side because of it. And we live in Mora. I think there's like 3 black people here. My son don't hate anybody. He doesn't. So that was pretty tough. But I was going to get another squirrel moment. My friends told me to write a book. I know this is off the subject, but I was at church and I'm like talking to John. He's like this old harlot, like hardcore mafia in Mexico. Oh, you guys, you'd be amazed at hearing his stories. It's amazing to hear his stories. I'm like, wow. He's like, just a great friend. We go to church. I know him very well. And what's really hard is the fact that we don't really have a constitution anymore. They're trying to take away our rights. Like I said, why are you trying to fix something that's not broken? But I actually don't know if it really is being broken because I don't have a TV. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I watch like Extreme Makeover Edition and Alaskan Bush People. That's like my go-to. And Antique Roadshow. And then all the science stuff and the history documentaries I watch. Every now and then I'll get on PureFlex and watch a bunch of Christian movies. But those break my heart and I sit and I cry and I cry and I cry and I cry. But you know, I had a friend tell me once that the most dangerous weapon in the world, and he's right, is the pen. This is the most dangerous weapon in the world. This is the pen. Because this is the thing that signs all of everything. Once you sign a bill, once you pass this, once you do that, it's a signature and you are done. Yeah, pretty much. This is the world's most dangerous weapon. Believe it or not. Sorry, I just got emotional. I just can't. I read the stuff from my books, and it just breaks my heart. I look into my research, and it breaks my heart. And all I do is pray. I'm waiting patiently for my next move. And I'm praying for it. There isn't a day that goes by that the VTK doesn't stop. Or the torture has been lessened, I will say that. Thank you, Jesus. And sometimes I walk around and I look at people and drive by and they're like out doing their lawns and they're like all normal and I'm looking at them going, dang, if you only knew. If you only knew. It's just crazy because it's like when you're walking around your own home or in your own town or no matter where you are, just walking around or just doing what you do, being you, you never know when whatever this and this and this and this and this and this. I don't really know the total answer, but I can be sitting there watching a Home Edition Extreme Makeover, which I really like, but it's just, I'm bored of that now. Like I said, I can't do much. Which is kind of a relief. Look at my wrinkles are going away. I don't have them big old stress wrinkles anymore from work. I should be sitting on the sun. I'd be dark as a little, what do they call it? I'd be as dark as an island girl. Because usually that's how dark I get. I look like a little Hawaiian or Mexican. But I don't think I can read any more of this book. It's just not in it for me today. I got up this morning at 4:44 and watched the rest of Awake Nation's podcast that got cut out because they were messing with the audio and whatever, all that crap, which is common. And so I woke up at 4:44, and all of a sudden it was like 4:44, which I'm Agent 444, believe it or not. I've been Agent 444 since 2002, because all of us girls, this Daughters of the King, which is our ministry, like there's 20 some of us, and we have a great deal of fun, and we just love Jesus. A lot of them pray at the women's prisons. I mean, it's just bizarre. I mean, it's just like huge kind of. And my lucky number is 4. And I said, well, I'm going to be Agent 444. That just sounds good. 3 years later, I come to find out a week ago that there's a megahertz at 444 is like the Song of David. I mean, it's insane. And I think a lot of this is for me, but hopefully I can reach somebody else. I mean, there's tried to do more than I wanted to. I want these things out. And the thing that I am really concerned about is for being in the medical field. I know this is far-fetched. I'm not Miss whatever. I'm just asking, just from. So this is for Jesse Beltran, any of your surgeons. So do you have to take them all at once? Like, can the implants be taken out one by one? Or is it so high tech now, or been so long that somebody's had these in their person that they're actually pathways to each one? Like, do they run on certain pathways? I mean, Dr. John Hall, somebody, Barry Trower, Roy. I'm really scared about my surgery. I have maxillofacial surgery, but it's just these teeth, so they're not going to be in my TMJ, so that doesn't even matter, so I'm not worried about that. But what I'm worried about is my hip. Like, what are the consequences? Does anybody know? Jesse, Barry, Dr. John Hall, Ben, Dr. Ben, Len Bear. Do we know that yet? And if we don't know that yet, you can use me. Because how do we know that? Like, people that have 1 or 2 implants and they're taken out simultaneously, like 2 in the shoulder, 1 here, whatever, like, what's her name? Whatever, I'm not going to see with that, but they were taken out in the same surgical day, right? And she was unconscious, so then therefore there was no really, or was there? I don't know. But that's my concern. My concern is the fact that when and if we do, we need to maybe do some more research on this, and I'll be a guinea pig. I don't care. I've got all my ducks in a row. I'm ready to go home. But if we take these implants out of people, and they happen to be Way-Band or wide body area network, are we breaking something? There's got feet, I mean, I know, and gut. It doesn't matter, but you know what I'm trying to say? That's something that we really need to be thinking about. And maybe you guys have already thought about it and you're just not talking about it because there isn't that many people to talk about. But I could really use an email or something, Jesse, like, I need to be able to think ahead of what I need to do and where I need to go in my life. Like, what are the chances? What are the of removing these things? Especially if it's a wide body area network. I mean, aren't they kind of like all conclusive, like all together? Kind of like a train, you don't want a derailment, right? So it's about 57 minutes, and I think I need to go because I'm a little emotional. Because I'm kind of getting scared, like I've been. But I'm trying to still show people things like this book, Project Soul Catcher, this one, and Volume 2, which is really a very hard read. You really got to know what your embassy war, you really have to know. This one's a little more, yeah. Check it out on your own. Love y'all. Thanks for sharing my tears with me. Bye.